Just met a friend of yours.
A friend?
An enemy.
Oh, which one?
Your arch enemy. According to him, do people have arch enemies?
Did he offer you money to spy on me?
Yes.
Did you take it?
No.
Pity we could have split the fee. Think it through next time.
Why is right? He could have paid the fees. He could have split, he said.
Jennifer Wilson. That was... Hang on. Wasn't that the dead woman?
Yes, that's not important. Just enter the number.
He found it.
You sent it?
What's the address?
22 Northumberland Street. Hurry up. I checked every back street wide enough for a car 5 minutes from Lauriston Gardens, and anywhere you could dispose of a bulky object without being observed. Took me less than an hour to find the right skip.
Oh my god, he's so good.
Pink, you got all that because you realised the case would be pink.
Well, it had to be pink, obviously.
Why didn't I think of that?
Because you're an idiot. No, don't be like that. Practically everyone is. Now look.
Okay.
Do you see what's missing?
From the case? How could I?
Her phone.
What are we doing? Did I just text a murderer? What good will that do?
A few hours after his last victim, and now he receives a text that can only be from her. If somebody just found that phone, they'd ignore a text like that, but the murderer would panic. Problem?
Yeah, Sergeant Donovan.
What about her?
She said, you get off on this, you enjoy it.
And I said dangerous, and here you are.
There's different, but they're similar in the right places.
Look across the street, taxi. Stopped. Nobody getting in, nobody getting out.
A taxi
Why
driver?
taxi? Oh, that's clever. Is it clever? Why is it clever?
That's it.
True!
Don't stare.
Each time there was a taxi with them.
We can't both stare.
Or nearby. Yeah. Suddenly you don't need your cane, dude. There's two people in it. A customer and a driver.
Sorry.
Your cane? What the fuck? He's so in the action right now, he doesn't need it. He can run just fine and stuff.
Sorry.
I just hope that it doesn't bite him at the end of it. Well, after everything, he's probably gonna realize. But he's making all these jumps and stuff. Wait.
Come on, John. We're losing him.
The artistic choices and stuff, it's great.
Police! Open her up!
And
No. The luggage. Probably your first trip to London, right? Going by your final destination and the route the cabbie was taking you. Welcome to London.
sorry.
Any problems, just let us know.
Just wanted to welcome you to the city. Who the hell was that?
Basically just a cab that happens to...
You can't just break into my flat.
But you can't withhold evidence, and I didn't break into your flat.
Sorry,
What do you
guys.
call this, then? It's a drugs bust.
Seriously. This guy, a junkie, have you met him?
John.
I'm pretty sure you could search this flat all day. You wouldn't find anything you could call recreation.
John, you probably want to shut up now.
Yeah, but come on.
Can you?
What?
You think he's a drug user?
Sherlock, this is our case.
Sherlock?
I'm letting you in, but you do not go off when...
We found Rachel,
Who is she?
Jennifer Wilson's only daughter.
Daughter. She's trying to tell us something.
Isn't the doorbell working? Your taxi's here, Sherlock.
Order a taxi, go away. When she got out of the car, she knew that she was going to her death. She left the phone in order to lead us to her killer.
But how?
What do you mean, how? Rachel! Did you see? Rachel! Well, she didn't have a laptop, which means she did her business on her phone. So it's a smartphone, it's email enabled. So there was a website for her account.
A password.
Her username is her email address.
You think?
Together now, the password is...
Rachel?
So we can read her emails, so what?
Anderson, don't talk out loud. You lower the IQ of the whole street. We do much more than just read her emails. It's a smartphone, it's got GPS. Come on, quickly!
Sherlock, dear, this taxi driver...
Mrs. Hudson, isn't it time for your evening soother?
Taxi driver?
Let's get vehicles.
He's right up. He's downstairs.
Sherlock?
Where is it quickly? Where?
It's here. It's in 221 Baker Street.
I'm gonna be here.
It's the taxi driver downstairs, so they were...
Maybe it was in the case when you...
Well, I didn't notice it. Me, I didn't notice.
Anyway, we texted him and he called back. Sherlock, you okay?
What? Yeah, I'm fine.
They honestly could arrest him right there, though.
Yeah, but the challenge and the thrill is there.
There's something else.
You're the cabbie. The one who stopped outside Northumberland Street. It was you, not your passenger.
See, no one ever thinks about the cabbie.
We did.
It's like you're invisible. I didn't kill those 4 people, Mr. Holmes. I spoke to them. If you get the coppers now, I'll promise you one thing. I will never tell you what I said.
He spoke to them.
The solution. That's what he wants more. He wants to solve the case. This guy kind of understands Sherlock a lot more than all the others. Weirdly enough.
Yeah.
Let me take you for a ride.
So you can kill me too.
I don't want to kill you, Mr. Holmes. I'm going to talk to you. And then you're going to kill yourself.
What?
That's hypnose.
Hypnosis?
Yeah.
You think?
Well,
Why though?
I don't think why it would work, because even though if you're under hypnosis,
you
cannot do stuff against your will. So
he's
it's
gonna
not
go
working.
for it. He's gonna go for it.
Do you think that his limp was only in his head? No?
Save him!
There wasn't any adrenaline
You know,
in the apartment.
we'll talk about this after, but it's possible. Oh.
There's a good bottle and a bad bottle.
Yeah.
You take the pill from the good bottle, you live.
It's basically Princess Bride.
Take the pill from the bad
Both
bottle,
of them were
you die.
Both
tainted.
bottles are, of course, identical.
In every way.
And you know which is which?
Of course, I know.
But I don't.
Wouldn't be a game if you knew. You're the one who chooses. Whatever bottle you choose, I take the pill from the other one.
Holy
And then
shit.
together, we take our medicine.
He really knows how the psyche works. That cab driver.
Inspector Lestrade, I need to speak to him. It's important.
It's manipulation, it's expectations, deduction. And they all did it because they saw the gun, so they don't really have a choice. And it's easy to say that, oh, you gave me the bottle thinking I would think this is the right one, so I will flip it, you know, stuff like that.
You risked your life 4 times just to kill strangers. Why?
Time to play.
Oh, I am playing. This is my turn.
I have a sponsor.
Oh.
What?
For every life I take, money goes to my kids. The more I kill, the better off they'll be.
Was it his arch nemesis, the enemy?
His fan.
And the fan? Just to make him freak out and look?
You can take a 50-50 chance. Or I can shoot you in the head.
Yeah. That's why the
Funny
others
enough.
chose.
Same result.
No one's ever gone for that option.
I'll have the gun, please.
There's no bullets.
Definitely.
Because I don't think he has it in him to do it himself.
I know a real gun when I see one.
Just before you go, did you figure it out? Which one's the good ball?
Of course. Child's play.
Or which one then?
He's playing with him. Oh shit.
Interesting.
Oh, no.
But what's the point of being clever if you can't prove it? Still the addict. But this is what you're really addicted to. You do anything at all, to stop being bored. You're not bored now, are you? Nico.
Oh my god.
Was I right? I was, wasn't I?
He's not gonna say.
Did I get it right?
Could have, you know,
Okay.
checked it in a lab.
Tell me this. Your sponsor, who was it? A name. Now. The name.
Oh. Someone who understands him so much that he can play with him like this, it's a danger.
You were going to take that damn pill, weren't you?
Of course I wasn't.
Oh, he was.
Biding my time. You'd turn up.
He didn't. That's how you get your kicks, isn't it? You risk your life to prove you're clever.
Why would I do that?
Because you're an idiot.
Don't take it personally. Everyone's an idiot.
Starving.
You're addicted to the danger, the thrills.
Just tell the good Chinese bank sent me the bottom third of the door handle.
Sherlock, that's him. That's the man I was talking to you about.
This petty feud between us is simply childish. People will suffer. And you know how it always upset Mummy.
It's his brother!
I upset her.
Me. It wasn't me that upset her, Mycroft.
No, wait.
Oh!
Mummy, who's Mummy?
Mother, our mother.
That's believable!
My brother, Mycroft.
I occupy a minor position in the British government.
He is the British government when he's not too busy being the British Secret Service or the CIA on a freelance basis. Good evening, Mycroft. Try
Oh my
and stop
gosh.
Paul before I get home. You know what it does to the traffic.
I'm happy he's in it, though. I liked him in the movie.
So, what do you say you're concerned about?
What are you so happy about?
Moriarty.
What's Moriarty?
Absolutely no idea.
Okay.
We better upgrade their surveillance status. Grade 3 active.
Sorry, sir. Whose status?
Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson.
Oh my gosh.
Oh! I love this!
Oh my
Holy
God.
shit!
For an opening, guys,
Oh,
that
that was genius.
genius, awesome, insane. Damn. I was sure that was Moriarty.
Well, yeah, I mean, when he started saying, like, arch enemy, I keep wanting to say arch nemesis. When he said arch enemy and the way he was speaking and talking like it was just as intelligent and that he understood him perfectly.
His brother too is intelligent.
Well, his brother, yeah, his brother is another really great guess.
Maybe
we could have
even
had.
more than Sherlock, so.
But, what? No, that's not what I said. I'm just saying that it could have been a really good guess. It's just that I was convinced, just like Watson, that he was an enemy. So I went like, who's the enemy? Who's Sherlock's enemy? The greatest he ever had. That was Moriarty.
That we know
So-
from books and from the movies.
But alright, but Moriarty is in the story. It's just that he doesn't know him yet. So it's going to come back for sure. I'm really happy that the brother is in it because it could make for very interesting sibling feuds, fights, and just interactions.
Yeah.
So I'm happy about that. The legend has started. These two together, and I really love that we get to see them meet, just try to know one another from the beginning, because every single piece of work from Sherlock Holmes I've ever read or seen, it's always them way later in their relationship when they've been working together for years and the relationship is established and they know stuff about one another that we don't even know because,
Yeah.
I mean, this is really interesting because we get to learn how they became so close, how they became that legend.
But even if it's not been about like 2 days since they've met,
Oh, yeah.
even less than that, you can see the chemistry between these two characters. Just at the end of it, they were bickering and joking together,
Like pals, basically.
non murmurer en anglais, what is that about?
Whisper.
Whispering together, saying jokes, and
Yeah.
you didn't know that these two would be great partners. in
They
the future.
share one thing. I mean, maybe they will share. They share more. It's just that from this episode, what we can say for sure is that they share one thing, which is their addiction to adventure, danger, thrill,
Action.
action. There you go. That's actually better than adventure. I was looking for the word. But yeah, they are addicted to action. In Sherlock's case, his addiction to action is more from the mind perspective here. He wants
Puzzles,
the puzzle. He wants to solve the puzzles. Anything he doesn't understand, he wants to solve. If there is one thing, and which is, I mean, that was perfect in the end when he was facing that cab driver. The guy, he was told how he worked, how he acted, so he knew perfectly how to keep him in the room. He was saying, like, oh, of course I figured it out, but he didn't. So to just tease him with that, being like, wouldn't you want to prove to me that you solved it? Don't you want to show me? Yeah, that's exactly how you have to work with Sherlock Holmes. You need to challenge his genius.
Because that's the thing with Sherlock though too. He has a need to be right.
Yeah.
He doesn't tend to be wrong. Just when he was sure that Harry was John's brother, it was his sister, and was pissed off. Kind of.
Yeah. And that's something that stays with him. Like, the guy died without ever telling him what right pill, what was the right pill here. So that's gonna eat at him a little bit, and maybe not for the rest of the series, but it's something that bothers him deeply. And now he knows that there's a guy out there who knows him, who can play with him, and he understands his way of thinking so much that he can, teach someone else how to make him weak, how to make him struggle. And he hates that. So obviously that problem is going to stay there, and he's going to try to solve it. He wants, like you said, he wants to be right. This guy is really interesting. That's a really interesting character. When we were talking about what he was, and people were calling him a psychopath, he's not a psychopath.
Functioning sociopath.
Yeah, that's a genius answer. Obviously, that makes sense. With how he's interacting with people, how he's seeing things coldly, like there's no emotion behind his actions, except when he's desperately looking for something and he's wrong. Like in the end, that was clearly anger. But usually you see that he says he understands how people think, but he gets surprised by genuine emotions.
Yeah.
So he would be saying like, oh, I mean, this happened, and obviously, like, he's trying to piece things together, and he's like, the guy saw that he kept the suitcase, and then he figured it out like 5 minutes later, and he panicked. He understands how people think, but he does not take into context emotions, and he does not apply emotions to his train of thought. So that makes sense with sociopath. That goes totally with the description. I was saying that he might be autistic too, a little bit, because of just his ability to think of so many possibilities at the same time. And you said, like, he jumps from question to question to question. He never stops thinking. That's why I'm like, I think he's...
I was thinking through the middle of the show, guys, that he's so exhausting. He never stops. Never.
And they kind of brushed the subject about him being an addict. The cab driver mentioned that he was an addict, but then he said, like, you're addicted to something else. You're addicted to...
You don't need to see much of it to figure it out something.
Yeah,
like, do you remember what Malek told when he said that during the movie Boy Meets Freddy, they want to show that Freddy was doing addiction with drugs, and they never explicitly stated, but they show the table with the coke on it.
Yeah.
The same thing. We saw a glimpse, and we saw people talking a little bit about it.
Yeah, that's not what I wanted to say. Like, it's not like it has to be front and center of the frame here.
I'm a freaking addict to
just his reaction to having Watson just straight up being angry and saying, like, he's not an addict. Have you seen this guy? Like, even if you look around, I'm sure you'll find nothing. And he's just like stopping him, and he's like, shut up. And I'm like, okay, I think he's an addict. He's a drug user. But if you think about it, look at how his brain works. You say he's exhausting. Jesus, he never stops thinking. So that would make sense why he would be a user, why he would go with drugs. Maybe to keep up, or maybe he's at history. Like, he's saying he's not using right now, but he's at history with it. So I think that maybe he has a hard time keeping up. Maybe he's using to stay awake. Maybe he's using so he can allow his mind to go even further. Holy shit, he's got 3 nicotine patch on his arm because that helps him think. So
addiction.
Yeah.
Well, true. I know that there's another TV series about Watson and Holmes on TV. Watson is a woman in that TV show, and Sherlock Holmes is
an addict
in that show. Yeah.
And in the movie with Robert Downey Jr., he drinks stuff that I mean, he drinks like chemicals and stuff, and he smokes, and I mean, God knows what he does with his body, but
experimentation and to keep sweating
all the time. And I mean, we saw him in the beginning, like we get introduced to this guy as he's beating a corpse to better understand how wounds work and how the body works, and I'm like, okay, he's extreme. But I wonder, I like right now, what I really enjoy about this show is that we get to see the characters and we get to explore how they work and why they act the way they do, and I think I want to see more about that addiction thing. I want it to come back. We saw a lot of Watson in this one, and we got a glimpse of Sherlock. So I want to see way more about Sherlock Holmes. I want Watson to figure things out about him as we also figure things out.
I'd like to know what you thought about how they record the whole episode, because there wasn't any pause from the start to the end. The flow was
really fast.
Really fast, but well done. So there's it's like a well recorded orchestra.
It's
the
almost
music
like
never ends, and you just follow the beat.
Yeah, you know, it reminds me a bit of a scene from Sherlock Holmes 1, I think, the movie with Robert Downey Jr. You know, the scene, or maybe it's the second one, but he captured flies and he put them in the vase, and he was playing notes on his violin, and he was saying, if I play a certain way, they all turn and together, like they're all following the same way, and they turn right. But if I play them in this way, they become, you know, chaotic. They go everywhere they want. Yeah. It's similar here. It's like they're playing this story a certain way, and it just flows right. We're just along for the ride, and everything makes sense. And the way they show information, we can be overwhelmed for sure. Like the first time when he was talking about what Watson was, I don't know if it's because we're French, and sometimes I'm just like, okay, God, my brain just didn't fall.
I think that even for English speaker, that's overwhelming.
Yeah, that was overwhelming a bit. But the way they do this, it's just, it makes a lot of sense. We follow Sherlock's train of thought. The way they just write words, we're not, he doesn't say out loud what he thinks, but everything makes sense. So nothing is chaotic. I mean, everything is crazy. Like, we're a bunch of flies in one vase, but the way they play the melody just makes us go the right way, and we follow along, and it's genius. The way they use visuals to keep this interesting, and to also make us understand the words when they receive text messages. We don't even need a shot of the phone. The words are there, and it's crazy because it's like we're thinking just like Sherlock. They're making us see a glimpse of how he thinks. He's looking at stuff, and then words pop up, and we're like, oh, okay, he understood that, and we can relate. So it's great.
When Watson was on the rooftop, and you got the wait word and
the
green pedestrian to when he wants to go.
It's really cool. It's interesting because I don't think I've ever seen a movie or a show that does it this way, but it keeps things interesting and really funny too sometimes. So this is cool, and we wanted to talk about Watson's leg.
Yeah.
I have what's called Restless Leg Syndrome, which means that out of nowhere my leg is gonna hurt me sometimes, and you know, when I'm lying down on my bed and I'm not thinking of anything, my leg will really hurt, and I will be obsessed with this nonstop. And I figured out through the years with this thing that whenever I'm looking at a movie or listening to music or reading a story that's really interesting, that's really like taking all of my concentration and all of my focus, I forget about my leg. And when I was a kid, I used to say, my leg hurts me all the time. It's just that sometimes I don't notice it. I think it's kind of similar here. I think that, you know, there are some different ways of to have a limp. Like, you can have a limp because, I don't know, your leg got hurt so bad that you're missing like a bit. So when you're limping, it's not because it hurts. It's just because your leg is deformed or something. But I think in this case, he's limping because his leg hurts. And hurt is it's a thing that starts from the brain. Pain starts from the brain. So I feel like his limp is just him being weak, kinda. He doesn't, he's not focusing on anything. He's focusing on his weakness, and that's why he's limping. But then when he's on a case, when he's thinking about something, when he's in the midst of the action, he doesn't have time to think about this. He's back right there in the action. He's the soldier, and he loves it so much that his brain focuses only on what's ahead, and he doesn't think about his leg at all.
You know what I thought that maybe could be it? Maybe I'm wrong, but I thought that it could have been phantom pains.
That too.
It might have been hurt when he was within the army, but his leg,
he was shot,
his leg healed after that. And since he quit the army, he didn't have the rush of being in danger. So by feeling a phantom pain over again, it's like it's a reminder of what it used to be, of the trail of the danger.
Of what he went through.
Yeah.
I mean, whether it's phantom pain or actual pain, and it's the same outcome. Like when he's obsessed by something, when he's in the thrill of the action, when he's feeling that adrenaline, he just doesn't think
It doesn't
about
need
that
a
at all.
reminder because he's living it.
Oh, that could be that as well. It's, two very possible things. But,
He's
Sherlock
not thinking about it. That's the point.
Sherlock just straight up saying, like, oh, you'll be moving in with me. He'll take the room upstairs. And he's like, we never discussed it. I never said yes. And he's like, oh, pretty sure you said yes. The man that's going to come right here, he's gonna prove that. And he shows up with the cane. And I'm like, being with Sherlock and accompanying him on his cases gave him a new purpose. It gave him the thrill he needed, and it made him feel better. So he's not gonna leave that behind, and that's something they really have in common. Like we said in the beginning, their addiction for action is what's keeping them together. Like Sherlock said, I said danger, and you're still here. So
I have a question, another question though. When you observed that Watson was doing whatever Sherlock told him to do, do you have an idea why?
I think he's genuinely curious about what the guy can do and where he can take him and stuff. He said several times that he was a genius and that what he was saying was obvious, but he was like standing to the side and he's like, it's not obvious at all. And he's not used to meeting him. Sherlock Holmes is a very interesting character, and like I said in the episode, whether or not you appreciate his presence would be based off the fact that, he could just say your secrets out loud and he can be annoying really fast. So if you know him for a long period of time and he's saying your secrets out loud, you're going to end up not wanting him to be here because what he can say about you can be pretty bad. Watson, I don't think he has anything to hide. So he's genuinely in it he's curious. Sherlock cannot say anything about him that bothers him because, when he says something that's right, it's amazing for him. It's interesting. And where he goes, there's going to be an interesting case. There's going to be action. And I think he's thirsty for this more than he's afraid of the weirdness that is his new flatmate. So when he's like ordering him around and telling him do this, do that, he's going to do it because he's more curious about what's going to happen if he does it than he's mad of the relationship they have. Yeah. And he was a soldier. He's used to following orders as well. And I'm saying it maybe as a joke, but it's it's not that crazy.
Maybe.
He acknowledges that the guy is way more intelligent, but Watson is not dumb either.
He's not dumb, but it is true though that when you're facing someone that you think that may be superior to yourself, maybe by strength or by
you can be intimidated,
you can be intimidated or tempted to follow what that person wants to do or tell you to do.
Yeah,
like that person represented the alpha, and you follow the alpha technically.
Yeah, you see it that way. Yeah, kinda. So Sherlock is the alpha,
a highly functioning alpha.
Yeah, sociopathic alpha. There you go.
All right.
Oh, but I love this first episode. Like, I had a feeling because I love Sherlock the movie so much.
Well, it was technically kind of a movie.
It is kind of a movie,
long,
but it's a TV show. It's just that the episodes are long. But the movie with
an hour and a half long.
Yeah. But I'm saying that I love the movies with Robert Downey Jr. And when I was in high school, I loved the stories about Sherlock Holmes. I read a couple of them, and the guy is just so cool because he goes places that are, I mean, it's mind-blowing every single time. So I kind of knew I was gonna like this, and we know enough about the story that is Sherlock Holmes, the legend that it is, to understand the thrill when he says Moriarty. We're like, ah! When he's saying like,
Moriarty!
Ooh.
Moriarty!
Ooh. But, and also when the brother is like, we'll have to keep an eye out on them, on who? Sherlock Holmes and Dr. Watson. And we see them walking and we're like, this is the legend right there. So we know enough to be fangirling over this, but we don't know where the story is going to take us, so...
As someone who has a background in directing and editing, do you think that by doing an hour and a half long episode, the flow was better?
I didn't see
fast. If they have cut it like 45 minutes long, it would have kind of rushed it?
I think it's great that they took the time to tell the story and...
Because you're gonna record an episode or a movie differently depending on the time that you're allowed to use.
Yeah, but they have less... Usually when when your show gets taken by the production and stuff, like by the company, you get they allow a couple of episodes. They're going to allow you to make like a certain number of episodes, and there's also some running time. You'll have like 45 minutes for an episode because you need to take in consideration that there will be commercial breaks and stuff. In this case, I don't know how it went. Maybe they really went to the production company and said, you know what, we want to make short movies 3 times per season. There was no guarantee maybe that there was going to be a season 2, but I appreciate that they took the time in this episode, because something like this with so much information and so much mindfuck and just so much things to show us, because I mean the guy needs to go through the process of figuring out what's going on with the case. If it had been rushed, that would not be, I mean, that would be too much information. That would be too fast. That would be way too much baggage to keep in mind. So by taking the time, it allows us to breathe a little bit. And I didn't see the episode pass at all. Like, I did not notice that an hour and a half went by, and there's only 3 episodes this season, so I'm not complaining at all. Usually we'll get more out of an episode and maybe less out of the season, but at least each episode will be fulfilling. Each episode is going to be its own little story, I feel like. So I'm loving how they did this, and I'm really excited about what they're going to bring in the next one. So we're going to move on.
Let's try anyway.
Thank you guys so much for watching this episode with us. If you want to see the next one right away, like I said in the beginning, it's already on Patreon. The link is down in the description.
So you know what to do. If you want to watch it now, guys, just go down there, you click and you subscribe, or you wait for next week to come by to watch the second episode, guys.
Yes.
So see you in a week.
Bye.